Hello drummers, it's Rob Litton here from drumstheword.com and welcome to this completely free full video song lesson. Today I want to show you how to play the song Call for Cats by Squeeze, drummed by Gilson Lavis. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this in my last Squeeze lesson, but Gilson Lavis is the drummer for the Jools Holland band. For anyone here in the UK, you know who Jools Holland is. But he's actually the grey-haired jazzer at the back. He's actually the drummer for Squeeze in this song as well. And as usual, I've got the full PDF drum chart for you to download from my website for free, all 4 pages of the full song, including the drum solo that comes up later. You can download all 4 pages from my website for free. You'll find a link beneath this video. So have these printed out in front of you as we go through this together. This song was suggested over on my Facebook page. You'll see if you go over there, there's a post that I pinned to the top of the page where I ask for your song suggestions, others get to vote on them, and then the most popular songs get chosen for future lessons, just like this one was today. So, we've got the main drum beat of the song. Nothing complicated going on here. It's the little flash parts, the drum solo, the drum fills, the use of the hi-hat dynamics that make this a sort of intermediate lesson rather than a beginner lesson, because if you just take the drum beat on its own, there's nothing really complicated going on. So it's really just this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, bass drum on all 4 beats, snare drum on 2 and 4. It's just quite fast. It's a fast tempo. So classic sort of drum beat that, where you're pumping on the bass drum, keeping the groove going, hi-hats keeping nice and steady. First bar just happens to start with a crash. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 bars of that. Then we go into verse 1 where the vocals start. And the first line, each verse is constructed, by the way, of a line of 4, then the melody sort of has this line of 6, this little B section, and then we go back to a line of 4. So that's why we've got 4, 6, 6 and 4 for each of the verses. If you listen to the song, it goes with the melody. But anyway, the first line of 4, we have that groove just being played 4 times. But notice on bar 3, there's a missed hi-hat on the and of 4. I get the impression that was probably a mistake. It wasn't intentional to miss that hi-hat, but it was a great take in the studio, so they kept the whole thing. And it also adds a little bit of interest. It goes rather well with the vocals, accidentally perhaps. I might be wrong, but what we get on a recording, and this is certainly something you don't have to worry about replicating unless you want to play this note for note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and then it continues. So just that 1/8 note on the and of beat 4 is missed out on on bar 3. So I thought I'd mention that because it's kind of a cool little quirky thing to notice. So the second line, 6 bars of groove, but the 4th bar we have this drum fill. The bass drum is playing 1, 2, 3, 4, and I've written this, transcribed this song for 3 toms. I know Gilson has a lot more drums. You can see it on the music video, a lot more toms. But most drummers only have 3 toms, so I've notated this for 3 toms as close as I can. So what we get here is 1 and 2 and then 3 and 4. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. You could play 3 and, as I've notated on the chart, right left, but I'll play it right with the bass drum underneath. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Gilson, I keep getting his name wrong, Gilson goes back to the hi-hat for the and of beat 4. Again, you don't have to play 4 ands, but Gilson does. You could play 4, 1 and come back on beat 1 if you wanted to. No one's going to miss that extra hi-hat, but it's on the recording, so I included it. So bars 3 and 4 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 ands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Really nice little drum fill, very simple in a way. So that's the next line, line 3, 4 bars of groove. And then we get our first chorus. And what Gilson does for these choruses is he plays the hi-hat accents on the ands of the beat. So we get this movement: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I'm playing 1 and 2 and 3 and that motion, that molar whip, allows me to play that really smoothly. If you haven't got this motion down, then what you can do to replicate it is just play the hi-hat notes on the ands. 1 and 2 and 3 and leave out the hi-hat, the quieter hi-hat notes on 1, 2, 3 and 4. That'll work just as well for the song. No one's going to miss it, but if you listen carefully, you can hear that's what Gilson's playing. He's playing all the notes. So we get that for the first bar. The second bar is exactly the same, but we get this snare and crash on beat 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And he comes back to the hi-hat for the and of beat 4 again, but again, you could leave out anything that ends with a snare and crash on beat 4 of a bar. You don't have to feel the need to rush back to the hi-hat. So that chorus 1, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So now that we play for you up to speed, I won't start from the top of the page because there's a lot of repeating bars. So let's start from the second line of verse 1, the line with 6 bars on it, and then we're up to chorus 1, so we can hear how we transfer from the verse to the chorus. Up to speed without me yakking on over the top. Here we go. So on to verse 2, same structure as before. Line 1, nothing going on. No crash cymbal notice on beat 1. He doesn't always play a crash cymbal at the beginning of a new section. Line 2, bar 4 again, we get another drum fill, another little sweet drum fill. So what he's playing, again, the bass drum's pumping underneath. We'll leave out the bass drum for now. He plays 1E and 2 and. So comes up to the high tom, or medium tom in this case. You could use this tom or this tom. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to use this tom, just for simplicity, it's in front of me. 1E and 2 and, but maintain that backbeat. And then onto your lowest tom, or the next lowest tom, 3E and, all those notes, 3E and 4 and. And again, Old Faithful there, snare and crash at the end with the hi-hat on the and of 4. So we get, with the bass drum underneath, 1E and 2 and, 3E and 4 and. It's always good in this situation to create a 2-bar loop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1E and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Again, 4, 1E and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1E and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Don't feel the need to rush back to that hi-hat to make it too loud. It doesn't really matter. It's just, if you listen to the recording, you notice that hi-hat's very quiet, so he comes back to it quite smoothly, not rushed and played loud. Anyway, let's go on to the third line of verse 2, where we get another repeating idea that occurs throughout the song a few times. It's this open hi-hat in random places. So bar 1, we get 1 and 2 and 3. It's a really nice, loud, sharp, open hi-hat, that. So to give it a bit more emphasis, I really lay into the hi-hat shoulder on the and I don't play the stick on beat 2. I just close it on beat 2. So create a loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Don't know why, but it gives it more power if I leave out the hi-hat being played with the stick on beat 2. It just feels like it's more powerful. Maybe it's my snare drum that's making it louder, I don't know. But you could play 1 and 2 and 3, but I play it 1 and 2 and 3, and I leave out that hi-hat on beat 2 for whatever reason. You can decide whether it sounds better or not. Then at the end of that verse 2, before going into our second chorus, the accents on the and start a little bit earlier. So at the end of the line, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 and 2. We go into those accents on the ands into chorus 2, starting on the and of 4, the very last line of verse 2. So just be aware of that. Chorus 2 is just 2 bars of this. So no snare and crash at the end that time. So even more simple. Again, last time I mentioned it, you could just play if you wanted to. Is there a crash on the next page? No, it goes into verse 3 again without a crash. So now let me play for you the second line of verse 2 and chorus 2 so we can hear that second drum fill and that second variation of the chorus. Here we go. So second page, verse 3, we're going to go, nothing to talk about really. It's a very simple verse. Again, going into chorus 3, the very last bar of verse 3, there's the accent starting on the and of beat 4. But chorus 3 is only 1 bar long before this drum solo. So chorus 3, just 1 bar of 1 and, but then the hi-hat starts to open from beat 2. 2 and 3 and 4 and, then it closes with beat 1 of the next line where the drum solo starts. So chorus 3 is very short, it's 1 bar. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Simple as that. You could leave out the accent on the and of beat 1, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and you can even start the hi-hat opening earlier. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. But that's what's being played in the recording. We get those 2 accents on the and of 4 and then the and of 1 starting chorus 3. But then we go on to the drum solo, and what I've written here is, note, electronic drum track can be heard in background, and this drum solo has been transcribed for just 3 toms. So I've explained about the 3 tom thing, but there's also a electronic drum track going on in the background, sort of a synth thing, a loop, some sort of backing track going on, which disguises what Gilson is playing on the acoustic drums. Some of it, the first half is very clear, but the second half of the drum solo, there are some overlays with what he's playing and what the drum track is playing, so it's kind of difficult to distinguish. So you have to forgive me if you're hearing something different. This is my interpretation of it, but it sounds, and rhythmically, it fits perfectly with the drum solo. And like I said, the first 2 bars, I'm 100% sure this is what he's playing. But again, I've transcribed it for 3 toms, not for the multiple toms that he has. So you'll see what I mean in a second. So, excuse me, the first line we get 1, 2, 3, 4, second bar rested. The third bar though is where the drum solo starts. On your highest tom on the and of beat 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and. Then we go on to the last bar down to your next tom, 1 and. Then your lowest tom, 2 and, it's a flam, 2 and 3 and 4 into another flam on beat 4. So we get from the third bar 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 into the next line. Line 2, back up to your highest tom. 1, 2, 3 and a 4. Starting on the and of beat 4, we get 16th notes from one tom to the next. 1 and 2 and 3 and a 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and a 4. Move down 2 sets of toms, we get for the second bar 1 and a 2, again starting on the and of something. 1 and 2, 1 and a 2 and 3 and to your lowest tom for a flam on the and of 3. And this is where you sort of will notice the lack of multiple toms, is that this next bar is all played on the floor tom. We get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So the and of 1, 3 and the and of 4. Look out for those flams. Then up in pitch for the fourth bar, 1 and 2. So 1 and 2, back to your lowest tom, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So we use these 2 toms here, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and that fits the melody quite nicely with what Gilson's playing on the toms. So before we go to the next section, let me just play those 2 lines for you slowly, starting from bar 3 of line 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and a 4 and 1 and a 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Then we go into the section where it sort of loops, where it sort of melds with the backing track, where you can see on the video, this is what Gilson's playing. He's playing quarter notes. By the way, music videos aren't always the best way to check what a drummer's playing on the recording. Usually they're improvising as much as they would do live, but this is what I'm pretty sure what Gilson's playing. He's playing quarter notes on the hi-hat, and he's playing these bass drum, snare drum grooves for the next 3 lines. So the first bar is half-time drum fill. 1, 2, 3, 4 and. So we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, just quarter notes on the hi-hats, and this snare drum on beat 3. Then for the next 3 bars it goes a bit crazy. We get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, actually that's not too crazy, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. It's the next 2 bars that are a bit crazy, where the backbeat's disguised for 2 bars. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and it resolves there, beat 4 with the snare drum falling on beat 4. Then we get the next line, we get 1 and 2, bit weird this, 1 and open into an open hi-hat on its own, just no bass drum with it, 1 and 2, it closed with the snare drum on beat 3, and I think I'm hearing a bass drum there on beat 3 with the closed hi-hat. 1 and 2, 3, 4 and 1, and then bar 2, this was very hard for me to hear exactly what Gilson's playing. This is what I think he's doing. He plays 1, 2, and then up to whatever tom you like. I'm going to use this secondary tom. I've written this the high tom, but I'm going to use this one. 3 and 4 and, with the bass drum as well. 3 and 4 and, Into the third bar, back to sort of normality. 1, 2 and 3, 4 and. Fourth bar, 1 and 2 and 3, 4. And the open hi-hat on beat 3. 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and. And before we go on to the last line, let me just play those two lines for you. So lines 3 and 4, and I'll play it all up to speed for you in a moment, slowly. Lines 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1. Now the next line, last line, we get 1 and 2, 3, and this is quite hard to interpret as to what you might be playing. But this sounds most like the recording. Bass drum on the and of 3 on its own, 3 ands. Then on the E of beat 3, you play the bass drum again with the floor tom for E. This is quite a weird rhythm where we get 3 and 4 E and a 1. 1, 2, 3 and 4 E and a 1. Goes across the bar in an interesting way. We get 3 and 4 E and a. And then into beat 1, which is actually just a bar of 2 beats, a bar of 2, 4. And I think he plays both toms together. So we're sort of increasing the number of notes over those, number of drums over those 3 notes. 1 and 2 into a snare and crash on beat 2. So that last line, this is probably the hardest part of the drum solo to count anyway. You can sort of feel it. We get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 E, 1 and 2, 1. And we do get a crash on beat 1 of the next bar, but you'll be forgiven if you miss it out. 1 and 2, 3 and 4 E, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4 E. Oh, 1 and 2, 3 and 4 E, 1, 2, 1. 1 and 2 and 1. Remember that's a little bar of 2 at the end there. So now that we play for you this up to speed, I'm going to play from chorus 3 and then the whole of the drum solo. Here we go. So page 3, verse 4, we're going to skip straight to the last line of verse 4, bar 4, where the hi-hat opens to become fully open by the end of the bar from beat 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's what that crescendo notation underneath it means. It's getting louder. I just mean the hi-hat's getting more open. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then chorus 4, it's fully open. 1 and 2 and 3. And then he plays, again using just 3 toms, 3 and 4 and 1 into a snare, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So it's basically just lots of ands. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 with the bass drum underneath filling in those gaps. So there's 2 bars slowly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Let's create a 3-bar loop. Bar 3 from the last line into chorus 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3. So a bit faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Missed it. Do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then onto the keyboard solo 1, and the end of that first line, look out for the extra hi-hat accent on the and of 4. It's not important, but it's there on the recording. Second line, we get that open hi-hat idea occurring in bar 4 before beat 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1. Then, the end of that line, line 2, we get 2 accent notes on the and of 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and. Just a bit random, but it's cool. Then, the last line, 4 bars, we get the accent starting on the and of beat 4 of bar 2, all the way through bar 3. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. and then bar 4 back to straight hi-hats, and we get this last little cool drum fill. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Move down to your floor tom or your medium tom, it doesn't matter. Whichever tom is closest to a crash cymbal is the tom I'd use. I could use either, I'm going to use this floor tom. And you could reverse it to start with your left hand, so you end up playing the crash with your right, but most drummers are more comfortable starting with the right and crashing with your left. So this is how I'm going to do it. We get and 1. It's 3 notes, and to 1, filling up the space of that last 8th note. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 1. So I didn't count it that time, I'm feeling it. I'm starting on the and making sure I come out with the crash cymbal on beat 1. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1. At that speed, and to 1, it's too fast to, but if you play it slowly and count it. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and to 1, and to 1. Ba ba da ba. So then we go on to chorus 5, which starts with that crash cymbal. 1, 2, 3, 4. Same drum fill at the end of that first bar, and 1, but then it continues for the rest of the bar. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, or 1 if you want a different crash. So that second line, like chorus 5, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. A lot of fun to play. Again, if you want to start with your left hand, I don't know why that's so weird for me. It shouldn't be. Lack of practice. But you could start with your left hand and then you can crash with your right. However you feel comfortable. So let me now play for you the last line of keyboard solo 1 and those 2 bars of chorus 5. And then perhaps keyboard solo 2 where we get some accents on the and a beat 4 for bars 2 and 4. Here we go. So as just mentioned, keyboard solo 2 has those accents on the and a 4 for bars 2 and 4. Onto page 4, last page, keyboard solo 2 continued. We get bar 4, a little variation with the bass drum for the first time in the song. We get 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1. So a little unexpected bass drum on the and a beat 3. And he does play the hi-hat on the and a 4. So 2 bar loop. Fun to play that. And then the last line is basically 4 bars. I've written there note fade out, so the song fades out and you don't hear any more variations, or I didn't. So there you go. That's the whole song. Excuse me, I have gone through puberty. If you don't forget to download all 4 pages of this PDF drum chart from my website. Again, you'll find the link beneath this video. And while you're at my website, you might want to consider signing up to become an online member. And what I currently offer for $97 is a full year's online access to every single full video song lesson I've ever recorded and transcribed. And that's over 500 famous and popular songs where I teach you a song from start to finish. You get the fully transcribed PDF drum chart. And like I said earlier on, I've got at least one other squeeze song. I think it's Up the Junction, up on the website already. And I'm sure I'll be adding more squeeze lessons in the future because they're a very popular band. As a thank you for signing up, I give you access to hundreds more videos teaching you many, many famous drum beats fills and even drum solos. I give you 3 ebooks I've written over the years containing hundreds more famous beats, fills and solos. And then over the year of your subscription, you also gain instant online access to all the new material that I upload for my members. And I record new lessons every week unless I'm ill or on holiday. So you've got lots of cool stuff to look forward to over the year of your subscription. But if you've got any questions about any of that, then feel free to email me, robertdrumstheword.com. And until our next drum lesson together, toodle pip and happy drumming to you!